Hi guys, welcome to Cry Scream Relax. I'm just going to quickly go through some of the early signs of autism, the red flags that I picked up on when Coen was very young. I do have to say that I am specifically talking about Coen, my son Coen, and not the red flags or the signs to look out for in general, because it is very hard to diagnose a small child. And when I say small child, I'm on about under the age of 1. It's very hard to diagnose them with autism. But I could tell. So I'm just going to give you what I picked up on. And then if you obviously are feeling that your child might have some of these traits, then by all means go to your doctor. But again, I'm talking just about my son Coen. So, when Coen was 3 months old, my maternal instinct told me that something wasn't right. And as the months progressed, and I researched more into it, I was definitely 100% sure that he had autism. So he wouldn't respond to the simple things that you expect a baby to respond to. So things like peekaboo, and then like he wouldn't point, he wouldn't clap, he wouldn't wave. When a baby isn't really showing any facial expression towards those things, like clapping hands, woo, and peekaboo, something's not quite right. He did also have a lack of eye contact, and it was a case of he wouldn't even turn his head to look. So he also didn't respond to his name. So when you'd be calling him, he wouldn't even turn and look, let alone move his eyes to have a look at you. So, so there was no response to mimicking gestures or playing games like peekaboo. There was a lack of eye contact. He didn't hit his milestones. He had delayed crawling and walking and obviously talking. He wasn't doing any babbling. So there was no he wasn't saying any words, or he wasn't saying words that led to communication. So he was doing something called echolalia, which is just the repetition of words and sounds. So he would repeat a nursery rhyme over and over and over and over again. And he would repeat the ABC song even when he was crying. So when he was really upset, he would sing the ABCs, and it was almost like a way for him to self-soothe. So he'd just sing the song, but he couldn't form any sentence. Still can't form any sentence to communicate. So when it got to that sort of point, I was pretty sure that he had autism. Also, his fine and gross motor skills were affected. He couldn't use his pincer grip, which is like if you want to draw. He couldn't hold the pen properly, and he had difficulty walking up and down the stairs. He also couldn't kick a football, which is again something that you just expect a toddler to be able to do. But I don't know if it was the concept of kicking the ball that he didn't get, but he just couldn't do anything like that. Also, he had no interest in showing or sharing toys. So if he had something, he wasn't like, look, see what I've got. And he also wasn't interested in like playing with others, and nothing like pretend play. He just wasn't doing anything like that. And as the months went on, he started to stim. Now again, all kids who have autism, they all stim in different ways. Coen's stim is spinning, but he was spinning for like 3 or 4 minutes and not getting dizzy. And this was like an everyday occurrence at multiple times of the day. So again, that was a bit of a red flag, because everyone knows that if you just spin around a little bit you get dizzy, but he needed that sensory input, because obviously he wasn't getting it any other way. And he also had a sensory aversion to his feet. I'm talking like 3-4 month old. He would always like rub his feet together, and he'd always be crying, and I'd have to like rub his feet, like rub the bottom of his feet and then like tap the bottoms of his feet, and that had seemed to calm him down. It was almost like as if he had pins and needles, like, you know, as yourself as an adult, when you get pins and needles, you have to kind of like rub it out. It was almost like he had pins and needles, so I constantly had to do that with his feet. So there was definitely something sensory going on there with his feet. And I think that they were the main ones really for when he was little. And obviously as he's got older, he's 4 years old now, more different traits have become more apparent. But I would say that if you have a child and you're worried at all, then please go see your doctor, your pediatrician, whoever it may be, and get an opinion. And if you don't like the opinion, get a second opinion, because I had to fight to get Coen seen. And early intervention is absolutely key. If you wait, it's almost like you just throwing your child to the wind. Honestly, they have to be seen as early as possible. And like I said, it can be very hard for doctors to say, yes, your child has autism when they're just a few months old. But my instincts told me that he definitely did. And all those small little things, like we can't get too caught up on milestones, like if your child isn't walking yet or crawling yet, you know, it just might take time. But when they can't kick a football or they can't use a pincer grip, you have to think, well, why? What is happening that they cannot be doing, that they can't achieve these things? And especially with the talking, not babbling, not saying anything, and not giving any sort of, not just the eye contact, but just not even engaging, wanting to engage with peers, adults at all. So if you think, yeah, my child's just not responding the way that I think he should, then please do not hesitate. Please ask your doctor, your pediatrician, your health visitors, whoever it may be. Get those opinions, and because the best thing about early intervention is that you can get the services that is desperately needed. If your child ain't talking and you need speech and language therapy, there's probably going to be a waiting list. So that's why I'm saying early intervention is key. You know, you need to get on to it as quick as you possibly can. But yeah, I hope that helps anybody who may be struggling. There are only a few signs, but those few signs were all that I needed to know that he was on the autistic spectrum.